Okay, I've been asked to talk about the making of this little documentary about the dip pen, so I'm just going to run through the timeline now and go through some of the techniques that we have. Okay, first of all, a little intro here, and we can see we've got a mini me here, and then we've got the text. I'll come to the text later, but the mini me was using a bit of green screen footage that I shot earlier in the year. So we can see on this side here we've got the color key, and I'll just grab the green. If I was just to reduce the tolerance down, we can see, that is the selected area that I've grabbed. And then we come to this little shot near to where I live, where we've got this banyan tree on an old ruined house. This is one of the only few shots that I had somebody filming me, because I felt that we needed a pan across here. So my amazing assistant, my wife, she just used a GoPro Hero 9 and just walked backwards and forwards, looked overhead, and I just cut that in because, I talk about the tools that I use in my tool kit, so I needed an image of the actual tool kit itself. This little intro here, this sketchbook page, this is from a temple on a walk around Ham Tin in Puyo and Lantau Island. You can see there I've got a little roller slider thing, which means I can sort of roll around a drawing. It's kind of hard. I've got an overhead tripod set up here and some lights that I've put on with a little bit of tracing paper over the lights, just to sort of diffuse the light and to angle the light away so that it's not pointed down, so we're not getting reflection. And then we've got the text itself here, which I've just drawn with an iPad and an iPad pencil, which is actually a generic iPad pencil, which I realised afterwards doesn't have any pressure sensitivity, so it's quite a hard line, which I'm not too happy about. So I went for a cheaper option at the detriment of the success of this, but we're always learning. The text, it was done with application Adobe Fresco. It's a new drawing app which is very good. I'd make these little clips here, little experiments, and I kind of test them. So, that would be quite a nice idea. And then if it works good enough, I'll just drag that whole clip here. This intro here is one clip. But it gets more complicated as I go through. Okay, again, this is overhead. That's just using that rostrum camera setup that I used earlier. And I've just went through lots of different clips. In terms of the writing, I sort of bullet pointed the main aspects of what this documentary was about, and then I kind of freestyled it a little bit. And I'm either sort of narrating audio and then putting the images in, or I'm putting the images in and I'm narrating the audio itself. So here, all this text here, again, that was done with the iPad. I'm capturing in real time with QuickTime on my Mac. So I've connected the iPad to the Mac and then use that. So then we've got this. This is done with that rolling slider there. We go through. This is we can see this is an extreme close-up. I'm using extension tubes with a Sony A7S camera, so that's just extending the distance from the camera body to the lens, so it makes it more microscopic. It's very sensitive, so you've got huge depth of field there, so we can see it's getting blurry very quickly, but it does have that lovely background. If you got focus in the foreground, we do have a lovely bokeh effect in the background. Bokeh effect in the background. No, not that one. Is it that one? Yeah, there we go. So this one here, we can see that I'm just using the blend tools and the opacity, so I can have it darker. Okay, we can have it all sorts of things. We can exclude it, all sorts of things. So I just run through these and see what works. I just went for a straightforward light one. It was about line. I'm talking about the quality of line. This was line. It had to be nice, big, bold type there, so that people could read it well, know what I'm saying. This, I kind of realised when I went through my first sort of final that we needed to show what I'm trying to say in effect. So I went back and re-edited it and added this little scene here of me turning the dip pen round and then illustrating what I mean by that different dramatic line weight difference. Here I didn't quite know what the name of the nib was. I had to go back and research it, so I say it's a pointy finger thing. And then we've got the actual name of the Leonard index finger nib is the technical term for it. It is an error as well. I said that it was an antique nib. Now these are produced in this day and age, but they are you know, in the style of what we used 100 years ago. And then again, this is all just important things I felt the audience needs to know about cleaning. I didn't want to sort of advertise one specific brand. I prefer to advertise different brands so that I'm not kind of accused of, you know, making an advert for a specific brand. But so I've kind of blurred off the background there. And then we just, again, that extension tube, we've got that dramatic depth of field difference there. So it's 3 cameras I'm using. So this was DSLR, and then I'm using a compact Sony RS 100X for other things as well. I'm shooting from 2 angles at all times because some might not work, others will. So I might be doing a side view like here and doing an overhead view. So I'm just sort of covering bases at all times. You know, I'm amassing a huge amount of data. I mean, say this shot here, it's probably half a day's work for 10-12 seconds for that slider. I'm using a slider there. It's a fixed slider, and it was great to do this experiment with my son. And so he's just sort of running the camera backwards and forwards. And I'm recording as I'm making it as well, because it's kind of fun. I also use security cameras as I'm recording, so that's just running all the time. I think there might be something that I've kind of grabbed, so I'll turn my security cameras inside the house to what I'm doing at the same time. This one here, this is kind of interesting. You can see we've got a little bit of a white background going on. This was quite a big setup. A good friend of mine sadly just passed away. He was saying that it's better to have light backgrounds for your demonstrations, just it brightens up the audience. And so in a sort of homage to him, I put up some paper on rolls. I hung them. I'm using clips. Just create a nice bright environment to film. So it's a very short clip, this, but it was again a lot of work. But again, this is all learning. It's all experimenting. Got a lovely twist here on this here, and if I just to go to the timeline, we can kind of see moving that rotation along. I've got a couple of keyframes here either side. Instead of having a static image, I'm just moving along. Okay, then we're taking into the next image. This was an error here. The ISO on the camera was set too high, so it's kind of grainy. It was fine because it looks like it's actuality, and sometimes you just got to run with it and not reshoot. Okay, then we're going to the inks themselves and other materials, the bleach. This is the thing, you know, I'm learning each time that I'm making this. It might sound like I'm really knowledgeable, but I'm not at all. I'm just using these films to really understand. So this last one here, I kind of wanted to be a sort of lead into other projects that I'm doing at the moment. So, you know, it's like, right, that makes sense. And with films that you put online, you know, that you want people to understand your story. So I'm very interested in abandoned villages, ancient places and ruins, and I'm looking at those here in Hong Kong and elsewhere. So this was leading in without making the comedy factor too great. I just wanted to add something that talks about now and the fact that 2020 has been a very, very strange year, and we look forward to 2021. Thank you very much. I hope that was a help.